if you accept VC money, then you need to basically, you need to optimize for the next quarter always, of course. But then also, I mean, the venture capital typically expects some kind of return of investment in like between 2 and 3, 4 years, maybe. Because then the next round is due and so on. But sometimes you have to do strategic decisions which are super short term or super long term, and it just doesn't fit the way venture capital thinks.
Hi everybody, we're here at a special live from the state of OpenCon episode of the Hacking Open Source Business Podcast. Once again, joined by my co-host Avi, and today we're joined by Frank Karlitschek from Nextcloud. He's the founder and CEO of Nextcloud. Frank, how you doing?
I'm really good. Thanks a lot for having me. Really happy to be at this awesome conference here and to speak with you. Of course. And I have to say that you pronounced my last difficult name correctly. So thanks a lot for that.
Sweet. I love that. I'm Polish, so I am used to a lot of Eastern European names. Oh, ethnically where's?
It's probably from the Czech Republic, but it's like, I don't know, long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. And so Frank, tell us a little bit about Nextcloud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Nextcloud is an open source project. When I started that, like 13 years ago, at the time was still a different name. It was, I don't know, I called it an open source Dropbox, but it's a bit like weird to identify yourself. It's like a name of a different company. Then according to Gartner, this IT company, consulting company, they called it an collaboration platform nowadays. So it's really about like working together over the internet. It really expanded into video calling, chat, mail, contacts, project management, notes, of course, still syncing of files, all the things you need to work together and communicate over the internet. Of course, with the main difference, obviously, it's open source and you can run it yourself. Lots of people run it just on a Raspberry Pi at home, but you can also run it in like big organizations can also use it. So if governments and service providers with millions of users also using it.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting.
So did you, when you first started the project, was it the goal to have kind of like the open source version of Dropbox, or something that you built kind of for other reasons and it kind of naturally turned into that over time, or how did that evolve?
No, I mean, the open source one was really the core of it. It was really the idea to decentralize the internet again. I mean, if you're a bit older than me, then you still remember that we have services like mail and the web and FTP and IRC, and you can just run your service and they all can speak to each other, link to each other, and so nicely open source and freely available and distributed. But of course, then a little bit later, these new services like Dropbox and Gmail and of course social networking and search engines and all the stuff. This is all centralized and basically controlled by big tech. And it was the idea for me to build provide an open source alternative so that really decentralized. You can keep your data and your applications to yourself and still do all the cool things over the internet.
So how did you come up with the idea for Nextcloud?
Oh, yeah, that's a long story. So at the time I was deeply involved in the KDE project, the Linux desktop. This was actually my first open source project where I got into, like in the 90s still. And I was really blown away that people come together over the internet and write this software, which is, in my opinion, like as good as Windows 95, which was like very common at the time. So I was really, really blown away by that. And then I got involved in the KDE project. But then a little bit, 10 years later, it became clear that a lot of people still use Linux on the desktop, but then they use a lot of online services. They just use Gmail for mail and Dropbox for their files and so on. And then there's no real freedom anymore, right? And you have in control of your desktop, fine, but all the data and all the communication is flowing through some proprietary software run by other people. And then I thought, okay, we need to also revolutionize the server part a bit, that you have this online services, collaboration services, communication, sharing, but self-hosted and open source. So this was the original idea.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So as you started to build this, was the business side of this something that you had in mind from the very beginning, or was this
Not
more
at all.
kind of okay? Got it.
No.
So how did you first recognize that there was a commercial opportunity in front of you?
Yeah, so this was a bit weird because I was actually running my own company business at the time, but it was for something completely different, and I just started like Nextcloud. As a hobby, as a side project.
Oh, wow.
Basically.
Okay.
Awesome.
I mean, I'm the type of person which always has lots and lots of ideas, most of them stupid, but some are okay.
I always like to tell people I have 1,000 good ideas, 2 of them are good.
Yeah, that's how it is. And I also started all kinds of things over the years. And yeah, this Nextcloud was just one of it. And but it became clear that I wrote the first version, the 1.0, developed it myself and then put it on the internet as open source. And then it became like code contributions and people joined the mailing list. And then they showed up for a meeting and it was growing. And then the press started to write about it. And the first companies called and said, hey, can we have that? Can we buy support for it? And so on. Yeah. And then it became clear that there's an opportunity to actually do a real company around that.
So when the first people came in with a support request, how did you handle that? Like, is that something that, I'm just kind of curious how you thought about pricing support, if that's something that you do today. I'm not familiar enough to know.
So the pricing, that's of course a long discussion, and this is still ongoing. I mean, we're still like fine-tuning it for this and that and changing the structure. But yeah, at the beginning, I mean, of course we had bug reports. It's an open source project, has a bug track on the internet, and people filed bugs. But then, as you said, like for the first time, then companies showed up and said, okay, I want to pay for it. How does this work? And of course, then there's the question: what's the business model, and how do you do that? Because you can then charge by the bug fix or by the hour or something, which doesn't scale. I listened to your talk at Foss, by the way, where I explained this a lot better than I can do. So, recommendation.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, so you really need to think a lot about what the best business model is. And we then decided relatively quickly that we want to go with, in my opinion, best and only real working business model, which is like selling enterprise subscriptions, similar to SUSE, Red Hat, MariaDB, and all the others. And there you basically get a package, contains out of support, unlimited support, but also a special build, which comes with long-term support. Then you have access to a knowledge base and get training, certification, and so on. It's very similar as the difference between Red Hat Enterprise Linux and like just Fedora or CentOS. One, you can just download and do what you want, but you cannot really, if you really want to run in a professional way, you should have a support contract. That's what we sell too.
Okay. And is there a certain demographic that you've seen, growth for Nextcloud so far?
This is interesting because there's another example where I was wrong. I thought that this is a great tool for companies. And we have a lot of organizations, enterprises, big ones actually as customers. But we are really, really popular, and was surprising to me, in the public sector. So we have lots of governments. There's a French government, German government, Swedish government, the European Commission, lots of government organizations from all over the world who like what we do because they really want to do all these modern communication things over the internet, but they want to keep their data under control. Yeah. For example, the French government, they like Nextcloud because they can audit the code. They can really look inside, make sure that there is no backdoor in there. You cannot do this with proprietary software. German government is using Nextcloud because they run it like an internal network. So they have their own internal hosting center. For example, communication between the different embassies is going through encrypted VPN connections. And this is something that only with Nextcloud works, right? You cannot really use like Zoom or Slack or Google or like that.
And this is really kind of this idea of sovereign cloud. Yeah. We had a sovereign cloud track at FOSDEM this year. Yeah. FOSDEM did. The community did. I didn't do anything with it. Yeah. But the idea that you should keep control of your cloud because you are giving up quite a bit to Amazon now. When you talk to people who aren't really sure how or why sovereign cloud is important, what do you tell them? Like, why do you tell them like Nextcloud is, different than the public cloud? What are those differentiators that you would point out?
I don't know. I mean, if you're like older as I am, then you know that. I mean, the past you were able to install your own server infrastructure, pick your provider, pick your hoster, configure it as you want, and you have a lot of freedom and flexibility. And nowadays, with software as a service, it's just one size fits all, right? You just like you use the product as it is, or you don't use it. And every time you have some special requirements, it might be that you handle like huge amount of data. Another customer of us is, for example, DAISY, which is a German particle accelerator. They produce petabytes of data. You cannot just easily update to AWS. It's just not possible. The internet is slow for that. You want to have it locally, which works with Nextcloud. Or you have compliance regulations. As I just said, it needs to be open source, no vendor login, and so on. Or as I said, you want to audit the code. So there are lots of reasons that like the public cloud just doesn't fit. You want to be in control of your data, of your software, and that's like what an open source tool can provide.
Now, from an open source perspective, are you getting quite a few contributions? Mm-hmm. What was it like getting that first contribution?
Yeah, so we get a lot of contributions. So for the core of the software alone, we have on GitHub over 2,000 volunteers.
Oh, wow.
So it's quite big. And of course, additionally to that, we have these things called apps. They're like plugins or applications building on top of the Nextcloud framework. And there we also have hundreds, and there we don't even know how many people are working on that. And of course, we have translations. I think it's translated in 90 languages. Also like lots of volunteers. So it's really active. And it's like, I was involved in open source before, so it was not that surprising that people contribute. But it was still cool. Also because technically, it was, I don't know, the guy who sent the first pull request really improved the software a lot, and the name of it was Robin, and he's still part of the team. So he's a part of the company. Really cool.
Oh, you hired him, so you hired the first contributor. Oh, that's great.
Actually, I think I hired the first 20 contributors or something.
Wow!
How big is the team now?
So we have between 85 and 90 full-time employees.
Really incredible.
And I'm actually also quite proud that we don't have any external investors. It's all bootstrapped.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's all sustainable. We are growing organically all the time, and it's a working business.
Yeah, the bootstrap model is one that I'm familiar with. I came from Percona originally, so Peter's famous for his going out there and I bootstrap. I don't want any VC money. I want to keep control. It really is. It's a way that you can take control and keep control of the destiny of the project and the team without having to worry about the pull of exits or the pull of these other things.
Yeah, it's not only to be in control. I think it's also to do the right strategic decisions, because if you accept VC money, then you need to basically you need to optimize for the next quarter always, of course, but then also the venture capital typically expects some kind of return of investment in like between 2 and 3, 4 years maybe, because then the next round is due and so on. But sometimes you have to do strategic decisions which are super short term or super long term, and it just doesn't fit the way venture capital thinks. So I don't know. For example, we're doing in some areas like with our ecosystem, we are playing quite a long game here at the moment, and this is. We invest a lot in things that don't really show up in the numbers like next month. So this is something we can do because we are completely independent.
Oh, yeah.
So when it comes to playing a long game, and you have different governments using the software, have you found that these kinds of like very big organizations have really different requirements that they are kind of wanting to, kind of tug you in different directions? And how have you been, especially when you have to manage that in public? Like, can you talk a little bit about, anything that you've encountered in that vein?
Yeah, if you follow business 101 textbook, then we do a lot of mistakes. For example, Nextcloud is a product that really works for home users, but also for big businesses. You can really deploy it and run it like for 3 people at home for your family, or like the biggest installation has 20 million users.
Oh my gosh.
And that's basically
Quite the scale, quite the difference,
and,
right?
and it's the same software, right? And also like consumers or B2C, or also like governments, B2B. And you might think that, well, that's like crazy. You need to focus on something. You cannot do everything at once. But I don't know. It is still, it's working. I mean, sometimes there's a bit of a conflict. I mean, just as an example, one feature we developed like last year is an improved Photos app that you can manage your photos in Nextcloud with nice features like a photo editor in the browser, edit your photos. We actually implemented face recognition and object recognition features, complicated sharing features. I mean, this is things that are really interesting for consumers. And then this is not, the government doesn't need that. But then sometimes also another custom comes around. For example, we also deployed it for the German telecom. They have a product called Magenta Cloud. It's like a consumer cloud we have 3.6 million users, and they love the photos feature. And then, I don't know, like a year ago, people were like complaining that, why do you develop this feature? It's not business relevant. And then suddenly later you have a customer who likes the feature. So I don't know, at the moment we can still find the balance between big and small and consumer and business. So, yeah.
So are there any sort of, maybe either in the community or marketing or sales, things you've learned in the consumer space that you apply to the enterprise space? Like, maybe like tactics, or, more and more I see community in the enterprise space is really a one-to-one relationship with people, just like the consumer space is, right? You're trying to reach out and connect with an individual user.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, nowadays you have the consumerization of enterprise IT. Right? I mean, I don't know, 20 years ago, enterprise software was famous for being totally unusable and like clunky. You needed training to understand how it works. But a lot of people use like nice consumer software. They use like, I don't know, social networks and Google and other like SaaS solutions in their private life. And nowadays they expect the same in the business world. And yeah, all the effort to make it like super nice and look nice, understandable, and good to use without reading a huge manual. And this is something that is nowadays also expected in the enterprise world.
Easy and good UI UX.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, if you look back at your career and kind of your journey here at Nextcloud, if you could go back and tell younger you, like one thing that you would like to change, or that you should avoid, or give some piece of advice to younger you, what would that piece of advice be?
So, I would say my younger self or other younger people to not accept IT as it is. That you can shape it, you can change it, and you can improve it. I mean, if you're younger, maybe it all looks like, this is all, I don't know, God-given, and it's like it is what it is. But it's not true, right? I mean, you cannot change gravity or laws of physics or how nature works, but you can change IT. It's done by humans, and if you don't like it, you can build an alternative and do it in the way you like it. If you're not happy how social networking works, or how big tech works, or how, I don't know, mass surveillance and other things work, then you can change it and have an impact. And it's like extra easy. I mean, that's extra easy, but it is possible with software, right?
Easy, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Easy.
let's say possible, right? Because we cannot build in our basement on our own, build a plane or a car or a ship. That's just not possible. But we can write software, and with software, it's really possible to have an impact, and especially share it over the internet, make it open source that other people can contribute. That's really possible, and yeah, I would tell younger people to, if they want to have a better world, then we can all build it together.
And so when you started, was that an issue that you ran into with like, this just isn't the way that it was done, and you had to get out of that mindset?
Yeah, I mean, when I started with this specific project here with Nextcloud, it was the high times of everything will be in the cloud. Not everything will be in the cloud. This is like the cloud is the future. And but I don't. As I said, I'm old enough to remember that this doesn't need to be like that. You can also, I don't know, decentralize things. And of course, nowadays we have the big discussion with Twitter and Mastodon, and I think more and more people understand how decentralized infrastructure is really, a good way forward.
How do you decentralize the cloud? Like cloud services, like that is a thing that I've heard some people try to do or start to do, like run decentralized cloud services, maybe like, use other people's hardware. Is that something that you've heard much about?
I don't know. I don't think it's that hard. I mean, first of all, what you should do, as we do with Nextcloud, to make it possible to deploy services as you want to deploy them. I mean, if you use AWS and Google Cloud and so on, they all exist once running by this. But if you have something like, I don't know, Kubernetes or OpenStack or Nextcloud, you can just take it and deploy it wherever you want on your own infrastructure. That's the first thing. The second thing is, of course, that I think more and more of these cloud services should be standardized. So they're actually replaceable or interchangeable between each other. So if you don't like one provider anymore, if you think that AWS is expensive or insecure, then you can just get exactly the same service somewhere else. I think that's something that's needed. And of course, with the necessary options to migrate the data, you need to have an option to export the data somewhere and import it somewhere else. And this is already a big part of decentralization.
Yeah, you certainly get really locked into cloud providers today, I suppose. As soon as you're really in there, you're.
It's hard to get out. I mean,
really
especially with some of the the databases and some of the other services that are ancillary to the compute. Compute and storage is easy relatively easy. It's the extra add-ons.
Exactly. Yeah, like the compute, that's relatively easy. Storage with S3 as being the de facto standard is relatively easy. I don't know, some other services, that's also okay. But now if you go into the really, really specific, complicated, payment services or some other AI services, then you're just locked in. There's just no way you need to change your complete business application to move to a different provider.
Yeah. Well, Avi, do you know what time it is?
I don't know. What time is it?
It's rapid fire question time.
Oh.
We do rapid fire questions here. So
Okay.
Frank, somewhere between 1 and 170 questions are going to come out of my mouth. And just try and go with the flow, answer.
You didn't want me.
Well, now you're on, and I got you on video, so you're not going to say no. But, okay, so what we do is we just ask some questions, nothing deep, but we want to get to know you a little better and know some of your background. Okay. So I'm going to start with, a couple straightforward ones. What's your, favorite open source tool right now, besides your own product?
I like a podcast player called Pocket Casts. That's open source.
I didn't know that was open source.
Lately, they open sourced it last year.
Whoa! I use that.
Something new. See,
very cool. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, learn something new. Yeah. Okay, all right. What was your first Linux distribution?
SUSE. It was still SUSE at the time. Later, OpenSUSE. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And did you get that on a USB stick, DVD, or floppy disks?
CD.
Oh, CD. Okay, so yeah.
Lots of CDs. Yeah.
Oh yes, lots of CDs. I had to do the floppy disks, so I'm dating myself. Yeah. I didn't have to do the 5 1/4, the big floppies. I had to do the little ones. So
I also tried one. I tried a floppy disk distribution. I don't remember the name, to be honest, but it didn't work with my graphic card. It was a disaster.
Well, that was the problem with all early Linux.
SUSE was the first one that worked, then later.
Yeah, that was the problem with all those early Linux distributions is they didn't work with the graphics card, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was always the pain. I think the sound is a little worse than the graphics card.
God forbid you have NVIDIA just really shoot your distribution right in the
What? NVIDIA is all about the Linux and the the GPU and
Yeah, no, it just still doesn't work very well.
I don't know. Whatever.
Okay.
Do you agree? I don't know. So what if you're getting up on stage and we're looking over a stage here? There's someone actually presenting. Let's say you're going up there. What's your walk-up music? What music do they play as you walk to the stage?
I have no idea. But now that you say that, that's a funny story. That I don't know. I was interviewed by a journalist. I'm not saying the name now. At foss many years ago, and the journalist did interviews with lots of different open source people, and he said that it's probably a good idea to use as the introduction music a music that comes from the country where the person is from. So the interview started with like some super weird like German like folk. I don't know. It was so weird. That's not my choice, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, so you have to think about that. You got to get back to us on that one because that one's one of those ones that we really want to know. We're going to come up with a whole playlist for the podcast of everybody's walk-up music. Be epically great. Okay. So, you're going to be out and about tonight, and if somebody runs into you, what is your drink of choice? What should they buy you?
Oh, I don't know. I like an IPA beer.
Okay, an IPA. Yeah, this is very standard, safe answer.
Yeah, it's not standard in Germany. So
that's true.
Oh, this is true. Yes.
Very impure.
Very dark. Yeah. More hearty beers right there in Germany.
Yeah.
Okay. I never understood like the warm beer versus the cold. I don't know. Us Americans are always into the cold beers.
My girlfriend, who is German, gets made fun of by her family for wanting cold beer.
Really?
Here's a cold beer.
Do you make fun of people for wanting cold beer? I don't know. Like, is that a thing? Like maybe it's a German thing, and I just don't know it.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh. So, as you look out over the next year, and you're looking at the kind of where open source is headed, are there any things that you're kind of excited about?
I don't know. I'm always a geek, a nerd, and I like new technologies, new things, playing with new stuff. At the moment, I'm actually, and maybe not the only one, but including me, I'm excited about the AI and artificial and machine learning stuff that's really popping up at the moment. Quite fascinating, I have to say. Also, Nextcloud, we do a lot with it, and a lot of interesting things. Of course, it comes with some danger here. Because like the open source community, we always fight it like for free software and the right software licenses and so on. The interesting thing is that software is not really important anymore, it's the data. And the data, it's really, really unclear how it is with who has the training data, and do we have the training data as sort of like the source code, and then you compile it, which then becomes the model, and how is this available, and can you reproduce it, and can you check what's in the model, and it's all very complicated. So this is interesting, but also a challenge for our community.
Yeah, and this is not part of the rapid fire questions, but since you brought up AI, I'm curious your thoughts on AI when it comes to open source and like automatic code generation, like Copilot or other things.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. At the end, I think computers should be tools that help us to be more productive and do things. And if automatic code generation can help us to write boring code, fine, why not? The thing is, of course, you still need to understand what it is and where it comes from. You need to check it, and it should be just like a tool to reduce like work from you, but you cannot really outsource it to the computer. You need to understand what's happening. So I don't know if it's just a tool, like I don't know, like a fancier IDE which helps you to be productive, can do refactoring for you, or I can also write some boilerplate code for you. Why not? But you should not trust it, and you should understand where it's coming from, and of course the licenses need to be checked.
Yeah,
easier said than done.
Yeah, well, and Frank, so I just had a bold prediction on another podcast that I did. I was a guest on a podcast, and they asked me for my predictions. My number one bold prediction was that by the end of the year, some open source project is going to announce that their number one contributor is an AI. It's going to be something that generated code or did something, and it's going to be like AI driven or machine driven.
Yeah, but that's not, I don't know. I mean, I think one of our top contributors at Nextcloud is also a bot, which is just
Dependabot?
Dependabot?
Yeah,
Dependabot?
No. So I don't know. It's
okay. Like I meant like something a little maybe. Okay, so now everybody's just pouring cold water on my predictions. And I feel bad. I'm gonna have to come up with new predictions. Or actually, maybe I don't. Maybe it's already come true, so now I can just claim victory. Isn't that how I should do it? Is just claim victory? I think I should.
Yeah,
I think I should just claim victory. So, Frank, back to rapid fire.
Yeah.
So, I am curious. What is your favorite food?
I don't know. I
thought this one was going to
everybody.
I thought the AI
Sushi.
Okay, well, I thought the AI question would be like more difficult.
Yeah, exactly.
But
strong opinion on machine learning than food.
So, Frank, I wanted to thank you for coming on and chatting with us a little bit. I appreciate you swinging by. I know that this is, a time for many of us to go and, socialize at the conference. And we do want to thank you for taking some time with us.
Thanks a lot. This was really fun.
Yeah. All right.